All right, let's go ahead and go over the warm-up. The school wants to take a survey of its students to find out whether the school day should be lengthened to allow more time for art and music classes. First group that they're considering is surveying students who are in choir or band. Is that a good representation of your population? And explain why it is or is not. Diego. So, what do you think? Okay, anybody else think it's yes? Anybody think it's not? Jayla? Okay, so when you do a survey, do we survey everybody? No. Think about voting. Remember we talked about voting. Does voting happen from everyone? No. Does the entire country vote for that person to go into office? No. Okay, in fact, only a small population. In fact, that's one of the things I want you guys to look up. I want you guys tonight to research and tell me what percent of the United States actually does vote. And then if you give me that answer, you'll get house points. You have to give it on a piece of paper with your name on it, and you'll get house points. Let me say it one more time. I want to know what percent of the population in the United States actually does vote. What percent does vote? Not what percent can vote, like not who's eligible for voting, but who actually does exercise that right to vote. What percent? Put your name on it. Tell me the percentage. If you get it right, then you'll get house points. But when we do a survey is not conducted through everybody. It's just conducted through a small sample. Remember, we talked about population and sample. Sample is a small picture. Sample is supposed to represent your population, so it should have a good variety. Does this group have a good variety? No. Because what does this group focus on? Choir and band. What is that? That's music. So if they are in these music classes, how do you think they're going to vote? They're probably going to vote more towards extending the day for music. Okay, so they're probably going to vote in favor of having a longer time to be able to spend on music or art because they're in those classes for a reason. They want to be in there. Now, it's not a good representation, so you would put no. Because they are more likely to vote yes for music. They happen to be in a music setting, so they're more likely to go ahead and vote yes instead of no. So it sways the vote a little bit. Like we said again, if we're doing a vote for president, we can't just ask people from California because they'll tend to vote more Democratic. We also can't just ask people from Georgia because they'll tend to vote more Republican. So you have to get a widespread range of data. Okay? What about number 2? A sample consisting of students who log on to an iPad or an iPhone app to answer the survey. Is that a fair representation? Tyler?
No.
Why not?
Because some people have Android.
Very good. Some people might have Android. Raise your hand if you do not have an Apple device. There are people who do not have Apple devices. And that's okay. Not everyone's perfect. I'm kidding. It's a joke. It was a joke, dear. All right. Shh. So it's not representative of the population. It's not a good representation because not everyone has an Apple device. Okay, so essentially what these two clusters did right here is it's a form of discrimination, right? Right now, hey, choosing people who are only in these music classes, I'm discriminating against people who are not in music. Choosing people who only have iPads or iPhones, I'm discriminating against those who do not have iPads or iPhones. So what your goal is you're looking for it to not discriminate against people. It needs to be open and available for everyone. So what about sample 3? A name being drawn from a bag that has everyone's name in it. Is that a fair representation, Manuel?
Yes, because it has all the students' names.
Yeah, because everybody's in there. Is everyone going to get drawn?
No.
No. Only some people are going to get drawn out. But everybody has a fair chance. It's kind of like what we do on the computer. Remember, I type everyone's name in there and then click the button and it randomly selects people? It's a fair representation. Everyone has that equal choice or equal opportunity to be chosen, but not everybody does get chosen. There's a difference there. Okay? So yes, this is going to be a fair representation. Because everyone has a fair chance. And that word fair, there's another way to phrase it, and it's down here in our notes. Fair is unbiased. Unbiased means it's fair. Biased means it's unfair. So when somebody says, oh, well, they're very biased, that means that they're very favored towards a certain group. They are unfair towards certain people or towards certain concepts or groups or opinions. So biased sample means that one or more parts of your population are favored over others. So again, biased is unfair. We don't like bias. It sways results. Unbiased is a good thing. We like unbiased. It's a fair representation. Everything has an equal chance. And now we have sampling methods, procedures about how to be able to survey people. And it's all depending on how the sample groups are chosen. 2 formats to provide unbiased results and 2 formats to provide biased results. So the first box here, unbiased samples. I'm going to zoom in on that. Our unbiased samples, again, that's our fair samples. We like these. These are going to produce valid results, so go ahead and write valid there as well. It's valid. It's fair. Because when we conduct them in this manner, we get a good idea of what the population is expected to do. And so you should be looking for these keywords, either random, the keyword random, or the keyword systematic. Random or systematic. Now, random, there's really no other way of explaining it. It's literally just random. Everyone's putting their name into a hat, or everyone's name is in a bag, or the entire phone book, and then you're flipping through it and calling on people in there. It means that everyone's included, and then people are randomly selected from that group. Okay? Systematic, it actually has a rule or a pattern that it's going to follow. A rule or a pattern. So if you see something like every 20th, every 5th, every 1,000th, okay, those are considered to be rules or formulas or patterns that it's going to follow, creating a system of choosing somebody. It's another form of random because what it does is it allows nature to randomize it, and then you are selecting it down through nature. So what I mean is, in the morning, everybody enters the school. So if I have everyone who is at school enter through that one door, then the way you guys line up nature takes its course. It's very random. It's based off of how you're going to line yourself up. Maybe you might line up with some friends. Maybe you might want to be the first one to get in the building. But it doesn't matter because how you set yourself up won't determine my picking. My picking literally will be every fifth person who walks through that door. When it's random, that means everybody's included into one bag, one box, one whatever, and then without seeing anything, you are randomly selecting. Okay? So these keywords, random or systematic, that's what you're looking for. Now, they're not going to say, oh, we're going to do a systematic pattern. They're going to give you a rule. You'd have to identify that it is systematic. Typically with random, you're going to see the keyword random. Okay? These are the only 2 vocabulary words for unbiased. Let's go on over to bias. With biased, not valid. These are not valid results when you perform a survey through a biased method. It is unfair. And it gives you swayed results. So convenience, the convenience method, it's basically an easy way of surveying. It's close by. So I'm only going to survey the people who are on the football team. Doesn't take much work because everybody's right there. I'm only going to survey the people who are in Miss Barbieri's homeroom. Again, you're all gathered in one class. It's easy for me to do. But these are biased results, guys, because of the fact that you're narrowing it down to one specific group. That's not as mixed as what the population would be. Why is it not so mixed if I choose just the football team? Well, yeah, it's not everybody, right? Not everybody plays football. There's other sports out there. There are people who don't play sports. Okay, same thing with Barbieri's homeroom. Not everybody's in Barbieri's homeroom. In fact, not everybody's in 7th grade. So you need to have a good variety. Voluntary response. This is one that you guys actually do all the time. At school, you do it simply by raising your hand. When you raise your hand, you're volunteering your opinion, your answer. But you also do this a lot when you guys go home through social media. Social media is the widest spread of voluntary response that creates invalid results. Think about it. People have followers on Instagram. Let's say you've got maybe 1,000 followers on Instagram. When you post, when you make a post of posting a video or posting a photo or just posting anything on there, not all 1,000 followers are going to sit here and comment. In fact, a very small percentage of that 1,000 followers, maybe only like 13 or 14 or maybe we'll go a little higher, maybe 50 people will go ahead and like your posting or even comment on your posting. So you're not getting an actual good representation of the people who follow you. And then the people who tend to follow you are probably your friends, so therefore they're going to have the same thought process or close to the same thought process as you. Because you're friends with them, right? There's a reason you're friends with them. You guys share same opinions, same likes, same dislikes. Otherwise, if everything was different, you guys would probably fight all the time. So utilizing social media isn't a very good representation because a good amount of people, even though they're on social media, they don't comment. They might scroll through, but they don't say anything. And so therefore it's not a good representation. Okay? It would be like if I were to only let you know information that was going to happen in class through my Instagram site. Not everybody follows it, so therefore it's not a good representation to get stuff out. We're going to finish this up tomorrow.